So I hope I am audible enough on your side. And first of all, a very good morning. Welcome on board the session on a new solution, which is talking about a new paradigm in the server lifecycle management. On behalf of Vivid, this is Naveen Chhabra welcoming you on board this session today. Um, we will quickly take you through the new solution, which is called as Server Automation Virtual Appliance, which is bringing out a new whole methodology in managing the server lifecycle management. So this session, as I said earlier, is brought to you by the Vivid leadership team, and I represent the Vivid as a Vivid chapter leader, New Delhi. I am hosting this session for you all, and I hope the session is informative and knowledgeable enough for you to take this further in your day-to-day job. And I look forward to a informative session to be presented by Manish Baluja this morning. Manish is Director for HP Software Cloud and Automation Portfolio. He manages the HP Software Cloud and Automation business for Asia Pacific and Japan. For you all to know, this session is being recorded, and the recordings would be available, post this session as well, for you to hear through those if in case required. While you have an opportunity to hear and understand what the solution is all about, I'm sure there would be some striking questions during the presentation. We encourage you to put your questions on the question manager, which is kind of on the right side in the webinar management screen, and you could put your questions there. We would try to answer your questions at an appropriate stage, or during the end we would have a Q&A session to answer your questions. So this is how the webinar control panel looks like. As I said, you would have an option to put your questions out there, which could be either responded back on the same screen, or as we would also have an opportunity to have a quick Q&A session towards the end of the session. So with that, let me pass on this to Manish. A little apology here. We are finding some technical glitch. Apology for that. With this, I would pass on the stage to Manish Baluja for him to start the presentation on this a brand new solution called HP Server Automation Standard, a short name to the otherwise known solution called Server Automation Virtual Appliance. So you may find that these are one and the same name. It is present to the customers in a virtual appliance form. So this is also at times referred to as Server Automation Virtual Appliance.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Manish Baluja, and I'm part of HP Software, Asia Pacific and Japan. I'm based out of New Delhi, and I've been managing cloud and automation portfolio for HP software for last 6 to 7 years. And today I have the opportunity to share with you some of the details about a new solution that we have rolled out, known by the name SAVA, which is short for Server Automation Virtual Appliance, or its more official name like Server Automation Standard Edition. So as Naveen mentioned, both are same products, and just the names differ, by the way we pick up. So today we're going to cover some of the key features for server automation, and let's see if we can, learn and try and make this more, useful for your data centers. Okay, great. So today, if you look at the key IT trends prevalent in the market or in the IT organizations today, you would see an emergence of new style of IT. Why a new style of IT? Because there are different technologies that are impacting the IT today, and the organizations of the future would compete in the context of these innovations around cloud, mobility, social media, and of course the big data. They would definitely strive to find new uses of cloud. They would work towards getting a better experience for the mobile users. They will try and get more insight using the social media of how the consumer behavior is. What do they want? The young, the old, the kids. And obviously to do that, they would use the big data tools to mine that information. And all this would be done to ensure that they have a better business, to enhance the business interest, and to retain the brand loyalty to their business. So although all these four technologies present the opportunity for business to enhance their dollar numbers, to enhance their business, but at the same time, the opportunities are being challenged by some of the IT challenges that are prevalent today. Some of this you can already see on your screens. Slower IT response. So there's one word that I would want you to remember is that today the IT is supposed to operate at the speed of business. There is no other way to define the speed of business, or the speed of IT in response to business requirement. That's one. The other challenge is that because you have, different delivery models in the cloud, right from, private cloud to the public cloud, and of course, you would still continue to have the legacy IT with you. But what would that result into is, some kind of a loss of control, because now the business can actually use the credit card and buy a lot of infrastructure on the cloud. And that is resulting in something called shadow IT, right? That's where IT has got more responsibility to ensure the controls and the governance, right? And the third most important part is, which is obviously the cost. The enterprise IT is under continuous pressure to, cut down on the cost and still deliver on the business ask and minimize the risk. So now you understand. Now we are familiarized with what are the technology trends that are happening and what are the challenges for each of these opportunities. And today we would focus on some of the some of these challenges and see how server automation could possibly address them. So let's further drill down on some of the challenges in the next slide here. Okay. So if you look at the server domain, what are the challenges that we as a IT administrators or the director of ops or the data center managers see? The number of servers to be managed for various business applications has tremendously increased. Why? How? Because of the virtualization. We adopted virtualization as a boon, but what happened was virtualization sprawl happened. Everybody could get a new server with a click of a mouse, right? And that's how the number of servers got increased. Not only that, business application got a lot more modular and agility introduced, so you need more server more often. That's one part. And because you have so many servers, the valuable time of a server administrator is being spent to manage those environments. And sometimes, those tasks, those actions that are piled up are very mundane, just to check a server health, at 9 o'clock, take some configuration backup or something, which ideally could have been done by a tool or a solution, right? The next challenge that we see is the part about governance and the risk management, right? When you have so many, servers coming up on a hourly or a day-to-day basis, and then some of them disappearing, it's very important. It's very difficult for an administrator to enforce the compliance onto those server environment. The last challenge that we see is coming out of the heterogeneity that we maintain in our data centers. We have different operating systems, we have different virtualization technologies, we are using hardware from different companies, we have different storages. All that results in point tools, and point tools for Solaris, point tool for Unix probably, and point tool for Windows. So with that, it becomes difficult to manage the server environment, right? You need to have different skill set to run the different environments. So having known these challenges, let's move forward to understand how these challenges could possibly be addressed. So I'm pretty glad to share with you the server automation, introduce you to the server automation. Today it's industry's leading server lifecycle management solution. All right, and I will share how server automation standard edition can really help you to overcome those challenges we just shared with you. So key highlights. The key highlights of server automation is the speed, the simplicity, the cost, and obviously the inheritance capabilities of server automation enterprise edition that it brings up. So why did we and how did we rolled out this server automation? We had obviously great feedback from customers like you who told us that we need something very simple, short and easy, and also easy on our pockets. So we went back to the drawing board. We innovated this solution where we maintained all the features of an enterprise edition, almost all the features, and plus we made it very simple to deploy, very simple to maintain, and very light on the pocket, right? So let's look at the key highlights. It's a self-contained virtual appliance. It's kind of a plug and play. You get a complete box for you to just install in few steps, and obviously it's very suitable for line of business and the mid-sized deployments, up to about 3,000 servers that it can manage. And the best part is, in case your environment grows beyond this 3,000 odd environment, you can always upgrade to the enterprise edition, and then you can scale up to 100,000 or more servers in a single deployment. Again, allow me to highlight that it continues to do the basic features like provision, configuration, patch and maintenance, and audit and compliance, all those features that we would cover in the next few slides. But this is a smart tool, comes in a very small package, easy to deploy. So let's see. So I shared with you that it's going to be a solution that can be deployed very fast, right? So it takes about 20 odd minutes to set up the basic server automation virtual appliance. You need to load a VM image, power on the VM, and then run the first time setups on the appliance. And trust me, it's all guided. You don't have to really have the major learning curve to just install the virtual appliance. That's just about 20 minutes. It's not counting, it's 20. And the next step, set up the users, create users, and define their permissions based on their role and the personas. The access can be defined. Deploy the agents onto the server environment that you want to manage, right? That can be done as quickly as within those 30 minutes that are highlighted on the left-hand side corner. Collect inventory. You need to know what's already there in your system, right? So it's like a new class teacher walking into a class, and he wants to know the name of each of the students. That's like collecting the inventory of all the servers in the data center. So all these three things are done within the 30 minutes. It's that sharp and sweet. Next step. Next step is very important, and probably HP software is the only vendor that stands out in terms of content. My favorite term has been that content is the king, and if content is the king, trust me, HP holds the crown on its forehead. We have one of the best content in the industry to help the administrators like you to manage the server environment, right? So what all you can do? You can set up a patch import from all the vendors like Microsoft or the Linux vendors. Set up security and compliance content, right? So in order for you to keep the server environment compliant, you need to know what are the best practices of the industry. So that's where we come in and we help you out. And we also help you to attach those policies to the various server groups that you maintain within the complete server environment that you have. So that spends about 90 minutes. So if you clock it by an average, it's close to 2.5 hours, and there goes the whole thing. Compare with any other tool, or even, let me be honest, even with our earlier avatar of server automation, it used to take much, much longer. But today, you can get it done within 2.5 hours. And the next thing is, spend about 10 minutes to schedule the jobs. What do you want to done? Those mundane tasks that we were mentioning about, and that's it. Just spend 10 minutes a day, and you can really manage your server environment. Okay, so next slide is interesting. That's my let me say, this is, I just created this 10 to 10, for us to remember the key points of this solution. So here is this, 10 steps to value. All those 2.5 hours, it's just about 10 odd steps. 10 steps to value, 2 hours to get started, and 10 minutes a day to manage the server domain. So how easy it is? Just spend about 2 hours. It's about 10 steps, all guided, and then you spend here on 10 minutes a day to be having a healthy server environment running for you, supporting the business applications. Okay. So what does it mean to you? The entire effort is to simplify, make your life easy. So as you know, I'm part of the cloud and automation portfolio. So one of the key messages that we drive home to the data center owners is that we give you some time back to your life. We are doing an automation, right? And currently we are discussing the automation in the server domain. So suppose you spend about 2 hours managing the server environment. Probably 1 hour is right in the morning from 7:30 to 8:30, and the next hour happens about 7:30 in the night or the evening to 8:30 in the evening. Probably these are the 2 most important hours that you would want to spend with your life or with your family, and that's what we intend giving back to you. And let's see some of the features that can really help you. Let's dig down on the features that can help you save some of the most important time and also ensure that your server environment is all available as healthy as possible. Okay. The first classification of the feature capability. The provision of your server. Your server takes the birth. I use the word birth because that's so easy for me to relate to, bring the server into our life. So with server automation, the standard edition, you can build the OS plans for you. You can have multiple OS build plans, few for Windows and few for Linux, and you can just use those build plans to provision your server environment. And one of the most important part is you can move up the value chain and deploy other softwares in the sequence that you want. You can decide the sequence that immediately after the operating system, the server, the virus scanner needs to be installed, and then the Microsoft utilities needs to be installed. All this is, in the form of a sequence, and that you can really deploy your packages accordingly. The other important point is about the fact that you can create templates, and those templates, whatever property that they have, whatever the policy that they have, can be transmitted to the servers that come into existence using the template. So if there's a one golden configuration of a template and there are maybe 200 servers, you don't have to worry about 200 servers. This is just one template that will ensure that all that you need in those 200 servers is there in that golden template, and that's the part of the existence of those 200 servers. And while you provision and configure those servers, thousands of them, you can obviously audit them for all the policies that you attach to those servers. Okay. So we have certain customer successes, and one of them is listed here. It refers to one of our customers used to spend a lot of time in managing and building the servers. By using server automation, they could possibly reduce about 70% of their time that was being invested before adopting the server automation. Patch and maintenance. So once you have configured your server, the next step in terms of operations, day-to-day operations, in managing the server environment covers the patch and maintenance, the regular maintenance. So with server automation, standard edition, the SAVA, you can patch as many as servers, as many times that you want. You may want one group of servers to be patched at SP level 1 and the other group at SP level 2. All this can be managed through the template. right? And the best part is you can track the patch, you can validate and update the configuration last state of existence for all those servers that you are trying to manage. The other important part is that by use of server automation, you can actually infuse the standardization of the processes of provisioning, and also the processes of patching. So if you go and adopt certain standards, there is a very minimal chance of you going wrong and thereby introducing any risk to the system there. What you can also do is you can collect the information or induce certain actions like adding a software, removing a software from the existing configuration of certain server groups. Okay. You can also do, I just would want to mention here something called configuration drift. So in case you would want to know what changed in my server configuration from the standard that I deployed for this system, can help you to let you know, hey, Mr. Administrator, this is what changed in my last, this is what changed since the standard configuration that I deployed for this particular server. This is very important, This is important because you need to audit, you need to maintain the compliance, and you should know what went wrong. And the most important part is who did that. So which is why the audit is important, right? So this is one of the points that I missed on the last slide, so I bring up the last slide once again. So remember, with server automation standard edition, you can trace each and every step, task done on that particular one server or the group of server or the entire server farm that you may have. So you can audit, you can ensure the compliance, and if by some chance there is a breach of policy, a breach of compliance, you have all the power to make a decision how to remediate that. You have got all the power to remediate it immediately because you know who did wrong and what went wrong at all the time, Okay. The next feature or the capability that I would want to share with you in terms of this solution, server automation virtual appliance or standard edition, is our ability to deploy software updates and the policy using the policies. So while you provision a server, as I mentioned, you can explicitly control which block of the sequence comes first and which block comes at the last. And the important point to remember is you can anytime change that particular block out of the sequence and replace it with the another. That is the simplicity with which you can really manage your platform. So, and the other part is that you can also do the same thing not only by adding a software or an application or a utility to the server, but you can also change and deploy or introduce a new policy to a particular set of servers. So for example, there is a new guidelines, whether it could be a business enterprise guidelines that was introduced, or it could be a regulatory compliance or a policy that being introduced from a new financial year. So you got the ability to change or add that policy into the template, and that would reflect the change into the server group, because then you would use that template for that change to happen in the associated server groups to that particular template, right? And that's how you also you create a reusable platform for yourself, right? Once you start using it, you don't have to really, you don't have to redo a lot of things. Once you have a standardization done, you have the templates with you, you just need to upgrade those policies and or add few softwares or utilities to that particular server group that you're managing. So it's that easy. Oh, I think I went a little. Give me a minute, I'm sorry. Okay. So the other and the most important part of our lives has been if something goes wrong and you don't know what went wrong. That is one situation that none of us would want to be. And that's where server automation, standard edition, or SAVA can really help you. We can help you with the best practices of industries like PCI, Sarbanes-Oxley, HIPAA, Basel II for banks, FISMA, and a lot of other regulatory compliance that we can help you to adopt the policies from. You can pick and choose from the library of these compliance reports or the policies to be deployed in your environment. And not only that, you can build some of the policies on your own based on your enterprise guidelines, right? So supposedly, I'm just giving you a very basic example that there is an application, business application that you are running. Maybe it's a business application hosted on the web, deployed on the web, and that particular application needs Windows SP2, patch number 2, right? So that could be becoming a part of the policy that you deploy for those server farm or server group for that particular application that is hosting that particular application. So these kind of policies can be created. You can take a cue from the library that we provide to you. It would have a library for PCI compliance. It would have a library for SOX compliance. It would have a Basel II, FISMA, and a lot of others. So you can pick and choose those best practices for yourself, right? And you can run the audit or a compliance report against each of the policies, against each of the server group, whichever way you want to do it. You can run check policy compliance for this policy. So what will it do is it will get to know how many servers are being deployed using this policy framework. And it will run a check on those 200 or 500 or 2,000 servers and give you a report that out of those 2,000 servers, probably 50 servers are out of compliance. And then the next logical step from your side would be, let me audit what happened on those 50 servers. And you would get to know that probably one of the engineers, violated, while it was trying to do a patch management or some action, violated or breached this particular policy. And then you would also know what you need to undo or remediate the particular change that breached the policy. So all the information are available at the click of a mouse on a single GUI that you see or use for server automation standard edition. It's that simple. 4 steps and you have entire server farm complied to all the policies that you put in place when it was coming into existence as a server. Great, very simple. And just to cite an example, there is a customer in Europe which used to kind of take about 32 weeks to do a compliance audit, and now it can do it in 2 days because they adopted something called server automation. And the next important part that I specifically wanted to cover today was about virtualization. What can we do in the virtual world? Although we don't differentiate between the physical and the virtual world, we support almost all technologies there. But because of virtualization, there are a lot of issues or the challenges that have cropped up. We have a free way, I would say a free way for virtual machines to be created. right, which is called virtual sprawl. People are creating virtual machines at the click of a mouse, and then they forget that these needs to be shut down, and we have a sprawl here. Sorry. So what we can help you with is that we can help you to build those templates, those golden configurations, right, with which you can control how those virtual machines are created, what can be done on them, what cannot be done on them. And each time a virtual machine is created using that particular golden template, they are created, built, maintained consistently based on that policy. So again, I would want to highlight no room for errors. So that's where we help you. And the other important point is that we can do it right at the time of day coming, day means servers, OS instances, the virtual machines coming into existence. So right at the time of the birth, I attach the policies to that template, which is giving birth to the virtual machines. So they come into existence knowing their perimeter under which they have to live and being maintained. The important point here is the last point that I would want to highlight is that SA, Server Automation Virtual Appliance, can really help you to eliminate the outdated templates. And what does it help in turn? It helps you to maintain the virtual sprawl. If you know that this template is outdated, then possibly you also know that servers or OS instance related to this particular template are also outdated. Either they need to be refurbished, or they need to be shut down. So that way you have a control on what's happening in your virtual environment, right? So this is the power of a virtual appliance. So easy to use. Trust me, when I say 10 minutes a day, it's actually a 10 minutes a day that you should spend using server automation rather than probably 2 hours, and that too in the odd hours of the day. That's where we give back the time to you and your family. And it's very cheap, light on the pocket, because we have server automation virtual appliance just need doesn't need the expensive Oracle database, and you just get the packaged database with this solution. So summary, it's a solution with a very low cost of ownership, both in terms of dollars and time. It's very simple to deploy. It has a unified interface for both physical and virtual management. It can help you to keep your compliance in the server farm, and it needs a very low maintenance cost, both in terms of time and money. And let me just give you one hint that the cost of standard edition of SAVA is just about half of what the enterprise edition may cost you. So that's the beauty of this product. This is the power of this product. And let me request you to go to this particular link, download this trial version. I think this trial version is for 30 days and extendable to 90 days. You can download it, and in case you have any trouble using it, in terms of what are capabilities that you can use, whether it's compliance or patching or maintenance, you can just call any of us, our HP software, and we can help you to reach out to some of our pre-sales guys. They can help you to install or make better use of this tool for you for next 30 or 90 days that you wish to deploy in your labs or your test environments. Okay, with this, I hand it over to back to Naveen. Yeah, I think Naveen can take it from here. And in case I would request you to come up. Feel free to ask me any questions that you may have. I think we have some time with us. We have plenty of time with us, so you can please be honest. If you have any question, please ask me. I'm there to answer it spot to you.
Hi Manish, I think a very quick summary as you've shared on the product capabilities, the deliverables, what server automation has for people who are managing their data centers and find it troublesome managing it with either no tools or with multiple different point tools. Yeah, the challenges the challenges do get compounded by those facts, and I believe people out there on this webinar have gotten some hints and understood how potentially server automation could help them in their respective management domains. I think we would take few hints and questions from the people who have either posted it online or otherwise. I also get some understanding from the way you have presented and the data which I've collected. So Manish, a couple of questions to you. Starting with the questions which are posted on the webinar. So I think one of the audience member has probably already used server automation, the earlier versions, and the question it says is earlier it used to take a few days just to get server automation installed. Since we have shared that it's a virtual appliance, the audience member is understanding that since it's a virtual appliance, it would come up quite fast, right? It would be it would take very less time as it would have taken otherwise. What are your thoughts, Manish, on that?
Great, good question. So this is the USP with which we have introduced SAVA to the industry. So the key point was, as I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, the idea was to deliver a solution to the market which is quick, fast, rapid deployment, and which is easy to maintain and manage. And it's, again, third point, it's lighter on the pocket also. So in terms of fast deployment, as I mentioned, it just takes about 2.5 hours to do the deployment. And obviously, depending on the scale of the deployment, in terms of configuration and integration with the other tools of the data center, it should take another few hours to about a day or two.
Okay, thanks, Manish. I hope this question gets answered, to the level required. And let me move over to the next question in line. It is, how reliable are these times? Or, while you've shared that it could either take 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or 90 minutes based on the various phases. Could you elaborate a little more on those, please?
Yeah, so good question once again. So I did sound it very quick and fast when I spoke about 2.5 hours for the initial deployment. So these times are tested in our lab environment where the engineers who built the software did create an environment. Obviously, they would have an optimal environment, in terms of complexities. But yes, different customers have different environments and different scales. So depending on the complexities and the scale, if you have about 3,000 odd servers, probably, then this may take a couple of hours more. But I believe you are about close to 500 to 1,000, all these timelines that I've shown you still would hold.
Great, Manish. Thanks for this as well. I think we have good number of questions flowing in. The next one is you referred to the reduced TCO delivered with the solution, and you also referred to some integrated database which comes as, or bundled database which comes along with the solution. Could you please highlight on that?
Yeah. Good question, Naveen. Yes, I did mention about having a packaged database instance coming up with this solution. Again, what we had in our mind was to introduce a solution which is lighter on the pocket, right? So we have to do away with the Oracle necessity that we had. So we introduced this open source database instance, which is PostgreSQL, which is bundled within the software that you can, obviously when you download or when you buy that, it comes bundled with the same. So yes, it's actually a database included and lighter on the pocket. No cost to you.
Okay, I hope that is also answered appropriately. There are a few technical questions here. I'm sure you would want to answer those. The question says, can it be installed on a desktop PC having Windows 7, 32 or 64-bit? Can it perform application? Yeah. Sorry, I'm moving to the next question. So the question is, can it be installed on a desktop PC having Windows 7, 32-bit or 64-bit?
No, it cannot be installed on, let me say, ideally it should not be installed on a PC, but if you want to use a laptop and then have that server environment built on that laptop, yes, you can do that. So I'll give you an example. We had a typical situation in Singapore where the one of the customer defense they just wanted a mobile equipment to be used to manage their servers. So we kind of had a very heavy configuration of the mobile PC, and which we installed obviously the server configuration and then ran the SAVA instance out there for managing.
So let me add a bit, this is my experience, Manish, and probably it will help get the answer to the person who has posted this. So on a laptop, probably what you could do is build up the VMware workstation environment, and since server automation virtual appliance comes in virtual appliance mode, you could import that VMDK or the OVA file and bring up the server automation virtual appliance as well on your PC, on your laptop. However, it is recommended that you use the VMware ESXi, which would also be available, for a free download in a trial mode to be implemented on a physical server, and with that you could be well up and running. Let me move to the next one. It says, can it perform application compliance and patch management besides server provisioning?
So yeah, so the answer is positive, yes. Apart from the the basic provisioning, we can also run the compliance for you, and yeah, we can certainly do that. So if I summarizingly answered your question, yes, you can do that because we help you to install it, we help you to maintain it as well. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the last question is important, Naveen, if you can please cover that as well.
Yeah, the question says, can it also manage desktop PCs, laptops, and PDAs?
No. So I categorically wanted to mention this because please do not, consider this solution for PC environment. This is specifically meant for servers only. Servers could be Microsoft based, servers could be Linux based, right? That's it. No PCs, no PDA, no laptops.
Right. For the benefit of the person who has posted this question, let me also add that HP software solutions are defined with the IT categories in mind. If we have the server environment to be managed, the solution is server automation. If you have the client environment, which are the desktops or the desktop PCs, laptops, PDAs, etc., the solution is called client automation. And similarly, the respective other IT domains like the application or the network and the storage, there are respective automation tools available. And if I would rather post that if this is of an interest area, we could as well cover that solution automation piece as part of the next Vivid webinar. So appreciate that interest. Keep those inputs flowing in, for that, so that we can make the new sessions meaningful for you. I hope that answers, and we are kind of coming to a close on this session. We appreciate you fill in the survey form, which would be posted to you at the end of this webinar, and best of all, you get a chance to win a $50 Amazon gift card. I appreciate your time, your valuable time this morning, and I hope you can take back the learnings and think through innovative ways to use this in the environment you manage on a daily basis. Thank you so much. One additional thing to note, just to remind that the trial version of this solution is available online, the link of which is published on the screen at this moment. If you may want to download, please visit this URL hp.com/go/server automation. You would be able to download a copy for yourself. Once again, thanks a lot for your time, interest. We'll have more updates coming out to you, the members of Vivid, very soon. So